Listen to me. Too many of us walk around thinking money is just numbers on a screen, paper in our hands, coins in our pocket. That's why we treat it like it's only about survival. But I need you to hear me when I tell you money is not just currency, it's energy. It's a force that moves, flows, and transfers depending on how you engage with it. When you start to understand that, your whole perspective changes. Because if money is energy, then the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act directly influence how it flows into and out of your life. See, most people get stuck because they treat money like it's finite, like it's a pie you slice up and once it's gone forever. But energy doesn't work like that. Think about electricity. Think about water. You can redirect it. You can store it. You can let it move, but it never disappears. It transforms. That's money. It transforms through transactions, through investments, through the choices you make every single day. And when you realize that you stop chasing it like it's running away from you, and you start aligning with it, like it's flowing to you now. Here's the problem: if you see money only as paper, you will always be limited. You'll never tap into its deeper purpose. Money is a tool, but it's also a mirror. It reflects your relationship with abundance, with trust, with possibility. When you're afraid to let it go, when you hoard it, when you clutch it so tight because you're scared there won't be enough, what happens? It stops flowing. Just like water held in a clenched fist, it spills, it evaporates, it disappears. But when you let it move, when you circulate it with intention, when you see it as a living energy, you create momentum. And momentum brings more back to you. Let me be real with you. There were times in my life when I was broke, not just financially, but mentally. I thought the lack of money was the problem. But what I didn't realize was that my mindset, my energy, my beliefs around money were actually blocking it. I was focused on scarcity. I was looking at what I didn't have instead of what I could generate, instead of what I could create. And when you live in scarcity, you repel flow. You cut yourself off from opportunities because you can't even see them. You're too busy worrying, too busy doubting, too busy believing that there isn't enough. But once I understood that money is energy, I started moving differently. I started showing gratitude for every dollar, not just the big ones. I started recognizing that every exchange, whether I was paying a bill, buying groceries, or giving a gift, was part of the same cycle of energy. I wasn't losing money. I was letting it flow, letting it circulate so it could return in different forms. And let me tell you, when you shift like that, when you truly honor the energy of money, you stop fearing it. You stop worshiping it. Instead, you start partnering with it. Think about this. When you breathe in, you also have to breathe out. You can't just inhale and keep it all in, because what happens? You suffocate. The same with money. If you try to hold it all, to trap it, you cut off the life force. But when you allow it to flow just like breath, it keeps you alive. It keeps you moving. Money wants to move. It was designed to move. That's why it's called currency. It's a current. It's energy flowing through the river of life. I need you to get this, because the way you see money shapes how it shows up for you. If you only see it as bills to pay, you'll never experience it as energy that expands your world. If you only see it as a paycheck, you'll miss the fact that it's also opportunity, connection, service, growth. When you change how you see it, you unlock new ways of receiving it. Instead of only expecting it through a job or one stream, you start seeing it flow through ideas, through relationships, through investments, through creativity. But let me keep it real. Just because money is energy doesn't mean it's automatic. Energy responds to direction. You don't just sit there and hope. You have to align your actions, your intentions, your mindset with the flow. If you're reckless, if you're careless, if you're selfish with it, that energy doesn't serve you. It drains you. But if you use it with purpose, if you see it as a tool to build, to serve, to create impact, then it multiplies. Because energy expands when it's aligned with purpose. And some of you, the reason money is scarce in your life is because you've been treating it like a slave instead of a partner. You've been chasing it instead of aligning with it. You've been putting it on a pedestal instead of respecting it as part of a larger flow. Money doesn't want to be chased. Money doesn't want to be idolized. Money wants to be honored, circulated, used with intention. And when you honor it like that, it flows to you because it knows you're not going to trap it. You're going to put it to work. You're going to let it fulfill its purpose. I'm telling you, once you understand this, you'll stop asking, why don't I have enough? And you'll start asking, how can I align with the flow? That shift right there is powerful because it's no longer about lack. It's about connection. It's about participation in something bigger than yourself. That's when you stop feeling desperate and start feeling empowered. That's when you stop stressing every dollar and start trusting the process of flow. And let me say this, because some of you need to hear it, money is not evil. Money is not dirty. Money is not the enemy. Money is neutral energy. It becomes whatever you put into it. If you're greedy, it amplifies greed. If you're generous, it amplifies generosity. If you're fearful, it amplifies fear. If you're purposeful, it amplifies purpose. The energy of money reflects you. And if you don't like what it's reflecting back, don't blame money. Look in the mirror. So here's the truth. Money is not running from you. Money is not against you. Money is energy flowing in and out, waiting for you to recognize it, respect it, and align with it. And the moment you do, you'll stop surviving and start thriving. You'll stop clutching and start creating. You'll stop fearing and start flowing. Money is energy flowing, moving alive. And until you see it that way, you'll never truly master it. Let me break this down for you. Money is not just about what's in your wallet or what's in your account. Money is about flow. It's about energy moving through your life, and the spirit in which it moves determines whether it blesses you or burdens you. When money circulates with openness, with gratitude, with purpose, it uplifts not only your material life, but your spiritual life. But when you lock it down with fear, when you hoard it, when you chase it without direction, you block the very flow that was designed to sustain you. I've seen people with a lot of money who are miserable. And I've seen people with far less who walk around with joy, peace, and abundance in their spirit. What's the difference? It's not the number in the bank. It's the way they allow money to flow through them. Because money is spiritual. It's meant to move with intention. When you use money with gratitude, when you let it pass through your hands in ways that build others, grow you, and align with your values, it doesn't just leave you. It multiplies the energy in your life. You feel lighter, freer, more connected. The problem is, too many of us think holding on tight is how you keep money. We believe if we cling to it, if we guard it, if we hide it, we'll feel secure. But that's not security, that's suffocation. You ever seen water that's been trapped in a bottle too long? It goes stale. It loses its life. Same with money. The moment you lock it away out of fear, it loses its spirit. And then you wonder why you still feel broke, even though technically you have some saved. It's because the energy is blocked. It's not flowing. And here's the thing, you can't fool energy. You can't walk around saying you're abundant if deep down you're scared to death of losing what you have. That fear shows up in every transaction, every decision, every thought. And that fear is what attracts lack. But when you approach money with gratitude, when you bless it going out and bless it coming in, when you release it with trust that more will flow, you unlock a different dimension. That's when you start seeing opportunities open. That's when resources show up from places you couldn't even predict. That's when you realize money is not a static possession. It's a living current that responds to your energy. Think about this when you pay a bill. You can see it as loss, or you can see it as flow. You can complain, man, I hate giving them my money, or you can recognize this payment keeps my lights on, keeps my family warm, keeps my life moving. Same money, two different spirits. One drains you, the other affirms you. And that's what I mean when I say money has a spiritual dimension. It's not about the transaction. It's about the spirit behind the transaction. And if you're still doubting me, let me make it plain. Look at generosity. You've given before, right? You've given when you didn't even have much, and yet somehow you felt richer after giving. You felt lifted. You felt whole. That's not just psychology. That's spiritual energy. That's money flowing in its highest form. Because generosity aligns with abundance. It says, I trust that there's more coming. I trust that I'm connected to something bigger. And that trust, that openness, keeps the current alive. On the flip side, greed, selfishness, fear, they all choke the flow. You ever notice people only think about themselves, who cling to every dime, never feel satisfied? It doesn't matter how much they accumulate, they're never full. Because greed is a hole that can't be filled. It's a blockage in the spirit. No matter how much money flows to them, it never flows through them. So it never blesses them. And that's why you can be rich and still poor, because your flow is broken. I need you to stop treating money like it's separate from your spiritual life. Stop dividing the two like money is just business and spirit is just Sunday. No, the way you move money is the way you move energy. If you move it with fear, you live with fear. If you move it with greed, you live with emptiness. If you move it with gratitude, with generosity, with trust, you live with abundance. And abundance has nothing to do with the amount. It has everything to do with the flow. And let me be transparent. There were times when I had to learn this the hard way. Times when I didn't want to let go of money because I thought it would never come back. Times when I said, if I spend this, that's it. And every time I thought that way, money felt heavy. It felt scarce. It felt like I was fighting for every penny. But when I finally got it, when I started saying, I'm going to let this flow. I'm going to use this to bless. I'm going to trust this cycle. That's when my spirit shifted. I stopped worrying about loss and started focusing on flow. And the more I flowed, the lighter I felt, the more opportunities showed up. The more I saw how money was never meant to trap me, it was meant to move through me. So you got to ask yourself, what spirit do you attach to your money? Do you let it flow with openness, or do you block it with fear? Do you spend with gratitude, or do you spend with resentment? Do you give with trust, or do you give reluctantly? Every choice is your alignment. Every choice determines whether money serves you or enslaves you. Understand this. Money is neutral, but the spirit you bring to it is not. That spirit transforms how money moves in your life. And if you want peace, if you want joy, if you want abundance, then you have to cultivate the right spirit around money. That means practicing gratitude. That means giving without fear. That means releasing without resentment. That means trusting the flow even when it doesn't make sense. Because money is spiritual energy, and energy responds to faith, not fear. So stop treating money like a cage. Stop treating it like it's meant to be clutched and guarded. Start treating it like it's meant to breathe, to circulate, to connect you with life. When you shift like that, you stop just surviving, you start living. And when you start living in flow, money doesn't just pass through your hands, it passes through your spirit, leaving you richer in ways a bank statement could never measure. Money flows with the spirit you give it. Let me tell you something, money will always reveal who you are. It's not just about what you buy or what you save. It's about alignment. The way you earn it, the way you spend it, the way you share it, all of that reflects your values and your spiritual foundation. You can't hide from it. You can talk all day about what you believe, but how you move your money shows the truth. If you say you care about growth, about family, about community, but your money never flows into those areas, you're out of alignment. If you say you believe in abundance, but every financial decision you make comes from fear, you're out of alignment. And when you're out of alignment, the flow breaks. I need you to understand this. Money magnifies your intentions. If your heart is set on selfishness, money will magnify that. If your heart is set on generosity, money will magnify that too. That's why some people get more money and get worse. They were already selfish, already broken in their spirit, and the money just gave them a bigger platform for it. But when your values are right, when your intentions are pure, money becomes a tool for transformation. It helps you expand your reach, your influence, your ability to bless others. It stops being just about survival and becomes a reflection of your purpose. The problem is, too many people chase money without knowing who they are or what they stand for. And when you chase money without values, you compromise, you cut corners, you sell yourself short, you trade your peace for a paycheck. And you can never win that way, because even if you get the money, you lose your spirit. That's why I keep saying alignment matters. If money is energy, then intention is the direction. Without intention, money has no meaning. It just passes through your hands, leaving you empty. But when your actions with money line up with your values, when your financial flow matches your spiritual flow, that's when money works for you, not against you. Let me give you an example. If you value growth, every dollar you invest in learning, in training, in developing yourself is in alignment with that value. That money doesn't just leave. It transforms into knowledge, into skills, into opportunities that keep paying you back. If you value family, the money you put into creating experiences, into building memories, into securing their future, that money carries the energy of love, and love multiplies. If you value service, the money you give to others, the resources you use to lift your community, that energy doesn't disappear. It comes back around in ways you can't even imagine. But here's the challenge. When your spending doesn't match your values, you create spiritual tension. You ever bought something you knew didn't align with who you are, and even though you had it, you didn't feel satisfied? That's the misalignment. You thought the purchase would bring joy, but it couldn't, because joy doesn't come from what you buy. It comes from staying true to your spirit. And some of you keep feeling empty, not because you don't have money, but because you're not aligned with it. You're using it in ways that don't match who you say you are. And I need you to catch this. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you're intentional. It means before you earn, before you spend, before you give, you check yourself, does this match my values? Does this reflect my purpose? Does this move me closer to the life I say I want to live? Because when you live like that, money stops controlling you. You start controlling the energy of money by aligning it with your true self. And let me be real, sometimes alignment requires sacrifice. Sometimes it means turning down fast money because it doesn't match your principles. Sometimes it means delaying gratification so you can invest in what matters most. Sometimes it means saying no to the pressure of what other people expect because you know it doesn't align with your spirit. That's not weakness, that's power. Because when you move like that, money can't buy you, money can't tempt you, money can't distract you. Money becomes a servant to your purpose, not the other way around. I remember when I started to get this. There was a time when I thought the goal was just to make as much as possible. I was chasing checks, saying yes to opportunities that didn't even fit me, just because I wanted the money. But the truth is, every time I said yes to something out of alignment, I felt drained. The money came, but it didn't fulfill me, it didn't build me, it didn't bless me. Why? Because I was moving against my own spirit. But when I started saying yes only to what matched my values, when I started putting money toward growth, toward service, toward impact, the flow changed. Not only did the money come, but it came with peace, it came with joy, it came with purpose. And that's the kind of wealth no number can measure. See, this is bigger than budgeting or saving. This is about integrity. Integrity is when your actions, your words, and your values are aligned. And money will test that integrity every single day. It will ask you, are you who you say you are? Do your financial choices match the person you're trying to become? Because if not, money will expose you. And if yes, money will empower you. I need you to stop looking at money as something outside of you. Start seeing it as an extension of you. The way you treat it reflects the way you treat yourself, the way you treat others, the way you treat life. If you move with fear, you'll handle money with fear. If you move with greed, you'll handle money with greed. But if you move with faith, with vision, with values, money will align with that energy. It will flow in the direction of your purpose. So ask yourself, are you aligned? Does the way you work for money reflect who you are? Does the way you spend money reflect what you believe in? Does the way you give money reflect the impact you want to leave? Because if not, you're living in conflict, and conflict kills flow. But the moment you align your money with your spirit, you break free. You stop being controlled by the need to have more, and you start being guided by the need to be more. When your intentions and values line up with how you earn, spend, and share money, you no longer have to chase abundance, you attract it. Let me explain something to you that most people never realize. Abundance is not about how much you have. It's about how much you recognize. It's a mindset. It's a spiritual posture. You can have millions of dollars and still live in scarcity, always afraid of losing, always convinced it's not enough. And you can have far less and still walk around in abundance, knowing deep in your soul that you're connected to a flow that never runs out. That's why I say abundance is a state of mind and spirit. The way you see money, the way you engage with it, the way you align with its flow, that determines whether you live in lack or in overflow. The biggest trap most people fall into is believing that abundance means accumulation. They think, if I can just get more, I'll finally feel secure, I'll finally feel free. But the truth is, if you're living with a scarcity mindset, no amount of accumulation will change that. You'll just keep needing more. You'll never feel satisfied. You'll keep chasing the next dollar, the next deal, the next purchase, and it will never be enough. Because abundance is not about the pile, it's about the perspective. It's about knowing that you already have access to flow, that you already have what you need, and that more will come as long as you stay connected. Think about it like this. When you look at the ocean, you don't stand there and say, there's only one wave, I better grab it before it's gone. No. You know, waves keep coming. You know, the tide keeps moving. That's what money is like when you live in abundance. You stop stressing every single dollar like it's your last wave. You stop clutching at opportunities like you'll never see another one. You breathe. You trust the rhythm. You recognize that as long as you stay in alignment, as long as you stay connected, the current keeps moving. And here's the truth. Scarcity isn't about money. It's about fear. It's that voice in your head that says, what if it runs out? What if I lose it? What if there's not enough? That fear keeps you from seeing what's right in front of you. It blinds you to opportunities. It makes you doubt your own gifts. It keeps you small. But abundance is saying, I trust the flow. I trust that I'm connected to something bigger than me. I trust that resources are infinite, and my job is to align with them, not hoard them. That shift will change everything. I remember times in my life when I didn't have much, but I still felt rich in spirit. I was grateful for every little thing. I was thankful for the roof over my head, the food on the table, the relationships that supported me. And that gratitude kept me strong, even when the numbers didn't look good. On the other hand, I've seen people with way more than me who were miserable, always stressed, always chasing, always comparing. And I realized it had nothing to do with the money. It had everything to do with the mindset. Because gratitude creates abundance and fear creates lack. You need to understand that when you operate from abundance, you make better decisions with money. You don't spend recklessly trying to fill a void because you already feel full. You don't hoard in fear because you know the flow is endless. You don't sell yourself short because you know your value is infinite. You move with confidence. You move with peace. You move with clarity. That's the power of abundance. It frees you from the constant pressure of scarcity and puts you in alignment with the flow of life. And here's what's beautiful: abundance isn't something you have to wait for. You can choose it right now. You can choose to see the blessings around you instead of the lack. You can choose to be grateful for what's flowing into your life instead of bitter about what isn't. You can choose to trust that more is coming instead of fearing that it's over. And the moment you make that choice, your spirit shifts. You stop living like a victim of circumstances and start living like a co-creator of flow. But let's be clear. Abundance doesn't mean you stop working. It doesn't mean you sit back and wait for life to hand you something. Abundance means you work with trust instead of desperation. You grind, but you don't grind from panic. You build, but you don't build from fear. You chase excellence, not survival. And that difference matters, because when you're desperate, you take shortcuts. You compromise. You accept less than you're worth. But when you're abundant, you hold your standards high. You wait for the right opportunities. You invest in yourself. You give freely because you know more is always coming. And let's talk about giving for a second. Some of you don't give because you think giving will make you lose. But giving is one of the purest ways to live in abundance. Because every time you give, you're declaring, I believe in the flow. I believe there's more where that came from. And that declaration opens doors. It unlocks connections. It shifts your energy from scarcity to overflow. I'm not just talking about money. You can give time, give attention, give encouragement, give love. Every time you give, you prove to yourself and to the universe that you trust abundance. And trust me, abundance responds. So stop asking, do I have enough? Start asking, am I aligned with the flow? Stop looking at what you don't have and start recognizing what you already do. Because what you focus on expands. If you focus on lack, you'll see more lack. If you focus on abundance, you'll see more abundance. And once your spirit locks onto that frequency, money, opportunities, and resources begin to match it. I need you to catch this. Abundance doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending challenges don't exist. It means facing reality with faith instead of fear. It means looking at your situation and saying, I know this isn't the end. I know there's more coming. I know I'm connected to flow. That mindset gives you strength when others quit. That mindset keeps you hopeful when others give up. That mindset turns obstacles into opportunities because you trust that even setbacks are part of the flow leading you to greater. At the end of the day, abundance is freedom. It frees you from the fear of losing. It frees you from the need to prove yourself through possessions. It frees you from the endless chase for more. And in that freedom, you discover true wealth, because true wealth is not measured by what you have, but by how deeply you trust the flow of life. Abundance is not something you wait for. It's something you decide to live in right here, right now.